everyone. Had some technical difficulty, so I wasn't able to start at 8:45. I really do apologize. I don't even know if this is live because it said my connection was low, so I really don't know. So, I was so pressed to start this video. I had tagged a whole bunch of people and wrote a whole description, but I had to end and delete that live, which was about 30 seconds. And so I'm hoping somebody comes into the room before I really start what I want to discuss. So yeah, how's everybody's Monday? Just wanted to wait a minute, see if anybody came on. Hi, Savage Rahim. Hi. This is like a new live. I can wave to you. That's pretty awesome. Thank you so much for joining the live. So I think I had shared about an hour ago that I was gonna go live and we were gonna talk about basically lessons that I've learned this past year in life, as well as love, especially. That if somebody had told me about those lessons, maybe I would not go through them myself, and I'd be like, oh, okay, point taken. So I'm hoping that this really helps somebody else. And that's really why, this group is here. So we can encourage one another to just do our best and be our best, right? So before I start, I want to know, where are you guys watching from? How was your Monday? Talk to me. Leave me a comment and tell me, where you're watching from. What state, city, all that good stuff. Okay. So I guess I'm just gonna talk to you guys and just be really candid. I started this group about, I want to say, a little over a year ago. And again, the mission of this group is to just let people know that they're not alone. Oftentimes when we go through things and we experience loss, there's a sense of what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here in the comments. You lose a lot of your confidence when you experience loss. So to have a group where people, we're all in this together and we're choosing every single day to get up out of bed and to just, hey Christina, how are you? So nice to see you. To just get up out of bed and to just make it do what it do. Lie in our mess if we need to, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it at the end of the day. So yeah, I've been very inconsistent with this page. Life kind of happened to me, and for a lot of people who don't know, I think it's really important that I'm really as transparent as I can be about where I am in my journey, and what I've been going through. I basically, ended a close to 9-year relationship, live-in relationship with my boyfriend, my then boyfriend, and the father of my child, about a year ago. It's been a year about, I'd say 2 days ago. Went through the day like it was nothing, but it was 2 days ago, made a year since the separation. So it's been very hard to kind of focus on some of the things that I was really focusing on, which was really branding myself and being there for people. Certain people, they can do that while they're in the midst of their mess, but I really needed to focus on what was really important to me and where my priorities were, which were figuring out what that looks like, especially when you share a child with somebody. Like, what does co-parenting look like when the relationship is all said and done? And my ex has recently gotten married in less than a year's time. So what does this blended family look like? And, sharing your child, like all of these things I've had to figure out, being in and out of court, really took a lot of energy and time away from the things that I desire most doing. But I think you guys are all very understanding, and I'm hoping to be here a lot more frequently. Hey Damien, how are you? I think you're in here. I don't know. So yeah. So what did I learn in this year and this season? Oftentimes there's 4 seasons in a year, and I've definitely been in quite the wintry season. It's been very cold. It's been very difficult. However, what doesn't kill you can only make you stronger, right? Hi. So I want this live to be very interactive. So please, please, please leave me as many comments as you'd like. I'm going to tell you what I've learned this year, and I want to hear what you've learned this year as well. I really do. So the first thing I want to start off with is basically like a few life lessons that I've learned, and then we'll get into like the relationship aspect of what I've learned, right? Okay. So the best advice that I've ever heard is to not take advice. That's funny, right? The best advice that I've heard from anybody is to not take advice. The best thing that anybody can do for you, or what you can do for yourself, is to just pay attention. Pay attention to what's around you, people, and how they act towards you. Just pay attention. It's going to tell you so many things. So yeah, I had to start paying attention to what was going on in my life, and I had to take control of where I essentially wanted to be. And a great way that I was able to do that was I was able to allow my life, and this is something that I'm constantly learning, I had to allow my life to be fueled by my being, and then my being then fueled my doing, right? So in order to be the change agent, or the change that you want to see in the world, you have to be that change, no? So it really took understanding that for things to really like shift and turn around in my life. And even though this group, there's not been that much interaction, there's been a lot going on in my life, and I'm going to share that with you guys. That's been really positive. I've recently republished my book. For those that don't know, I wrote a book several years ago that was republished and sort of revamped. It's a comparative analysis for those that like history, and it's a comparative analysis between Haiti and Guinea. And we look at French colonization in both countries and how that impacted them, socially, economically, and politically. So I had the opportunity to have my first ever book signing, and it was at the Haitian Embassy. And that's really big to be recognized by your peers. Can I call them my peers? Yeah, because to be recognized by the country that you decided to write about is huge. So small victories, and sometimes I know that I struggle with this, but sometimes when you accomplish something, you're like, okay, what's next? And you fail to just be in the moment and to enjoy that victory that you've essentially came to, you know? So learning to just be in the moment and to be accepting of some wonderful things that I'm doing is something that I am learning, you know? And yeah, so I've done that in the midst of everything that's been going on this year, you know, being in and out of courts and things of that nature. And just really learning how to coexist when a relationship is over. Still trying to figure it out, but I'm hopeful that it can be done because I know what's at stake, which is the welfare and the well-being and the well-roundedness of the child that we share together. So I'm hopeful that we will get there. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm a little all over the place, but yeah, so the first advice that I would share that I've learned this year is to just not really take advice and to just pay attention. Paying attention is the best advice that you can give yourself, allow yourself to have. And just allowing your being to fuel your doing is huge. And another thing that I learned is that life is fleeting. We never really know when it's going to be our time. So while we're here, let's do our very best to love in every kind of way. You know, for me to have to say this a year post separation for a near decade relationship is huge. The fact that I still have the capacity to love in that way is a choice that I've decided to make because I understand the bigger picture. You know, I understand that life is fleeting, so you know, I don't ever want to live in regret or say, you know, so and so never knew that I loved them. You know, I don't want to have those type of regrets. You know, so yeah. So I encourage all who struggle in that area to just to do your best to love in every kind of way, because there's really nothing greater. The greatest of all these things is love, no? So I'm gonna stop talking for a second. I feel like I'm rambling. I want to hear from you guys. Like, where are you guys watching from? What have you guys learned this year? This year is about to come to a close. Like, what have you learned that you want to share with everybody else watching? So yeah, I haven't gone live in a while. How do I leave a comment, guys? Help me out here. How do I leave a comment? I don't want to hit finish. Okay. Okay. I was just leaving somebody a comment. I figured it out. Okay, so we have Worcester, Massachusetts in the house. Woohoo! Who else is with us? Alrighty. Okay, that's cool. Um, Another thing that I've learned is this year, especially, is you have to know who you are. You just do, you know. You have to know who you are. You have to be the authentic you. You also have to be, oh, I'm sorry, Worcester. It's pronounced Worcester. All right, Damien, Worcester. He's here from Worcester, Mass. Okay. So you have to know who you are. You have to be the authentic you. And you have to be grounded. And most importantly, you have to honor yourself. You have to honor yourself. Hey, what's going on, Fred? So nice to hear from you. And thank you for joining. Just to kind of recap, I've been telling the group, why I've kind of been gone for a little while, what's been going on in my life, and some of the lessons that I've learned this year that I want to share with others. Just to recap some of the lessons, the first advice that I would share with others is to not take advice. The best advice that you can give yourself or allow yourself is to just pay attention. Pay attention. It will tell you so much about so many things. And just to allow your life to be fueled by your being, which will in turn fuel your doing. And recognizing that life is fleeting, and while you're here, you have to do your best to love in every kind of way. And for me to be a year post being in a 9-year relationship, for me to even have the capacity to even have that conversation about loving in every kind of way, is really big. And these are all like small little victories that I can hold on to, especially on days where it is hard. So I don't know if, Fred, you've heard me say I want this live to be very interactive. So I want you to tell me where you're watching from, and also if you can impart what you've learned this past year that you think somebody else really needs to hear right now. I'd really appreciate you leaving a comment below. I wanted to get all the life lessons that I've learned out of the way, and then really just focus in and own in on some of the relationship aspects of what I've. Okay, it said my video was paused and I've resumed it, so hopefully we are still rocking and in business. So I kind of where do I even begin? I want to kind of share with you a little bit of context about the relationship that I've been in for 9 years, a little bit about what that was like with respecting that party, you know. But so I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to approach this. So the relationship was what it was. However, we were together for close to 9 years, and we were engaged for about a month and a half, towards the very end of the relationship. And a year into our courtship, I was pregnant, and the topic of marriage came up briefly, because, both our families were like, you need to get married. And I came from a very traditional Haitian background with a Seventh-day Adventist background. So it was like, you're pregnant, you need to get married. But for me, I didn't want that to be the only reason we got married, so we kind of held off. But it was definitely something that I desired with the relationship. And it was definitely something that I desired within the relationship. But it just didn't seem like that level of commitment was something that he wanted. And so I struggled in those 9 years with, do I stay? Do I go? I know I want to present one household for my family, and giving up for a while. I'm a very committed person, so giving up was not an option for me. So I'm going to read to you a little bit or all of an entry in my journal where I talk about waiting and having the desire to wait while being in a live-in relationship, and feeling like it was something that was necessary for the relationship to not be stagnant, and to kind of like propel itself to the next level. So yeah, here it goes. I'm super nervous because this is very personal, but at the end, we're going to talk about some of the things that I've learned. So I feel like this is going to give context. So it's important for me to share and to be transparent. So yeah. Dear journal, to wait or not to wait seems to be the question. I feel that the Lord as of late has been pressing on my heart that things need to be shaken up again. Carl and I have resumed living together, and sharing responsibilities of paying bills and being intimate. But aside from those things, I'm still left wanting more. When we broke up, I had the opportunity, and I guess, to not settle. But I feel like I'm settling. I feel that I'm making one-sided compromises. And for what? For nothing. I am still raising a girl and doing it in the context that I am unwed. What kind of impression am I pressing upon my 5-year-old? That it's okay to shack up. Do everything for the man, yet still get poor treatment at random times. And nothing concrete or final that is substantial that says, hey, I'm fully committed to you and to our family in return. After today, I know what I have to do. But what a hard decision it's going to be. I want the father of my child and I to be celibate and to abstain from having sex so we can get to know each other outside of the physical and see if marriage is something he wants with someone that is me and I him. If he doesn't agree, I really have to reconsider staying in the relationship. It's going to tear my daughter and I apart in the now. But I know she will be better later if I move on and really start living in my truth. Until next time, and I sign out. So I wrote this over 2 years ago, and I didn't get an opportunity to actually read The Wait, which I recommend. It's a book by Devon Franklin and Megan Good. It's a really good read, and if it's something that you desire, I say why not? You know, if you're doing something one way and you're not yielding results, why not try something new or different? And this book was really refreshing because not a lot of people, especially in Hollywood, are talking about waiting and abstaining. So if you guys want to get the book, I'm going to leave a comment for where you guys can get the book. Ooh, what am I doing? So yeah. So if you guys want to get The Wait, do so. But yeah. So I share that entry with you to kind of bring it back to now in terms of what I've learned from being in that relationship and struggling with, do I wait, do I not wait, are we gonna get married, like my kid is 5 now, like what impression am I pressing upon her? So I learned that potential, especially in a man, without corresponding character, is a no-go. It's a no-go. You know, when you're in high school or junior high, you can say something like, he has so much potential. He's gonna be that man for me. But when you are well into your life, essentially, like, you can't pay the bills with potential. I'm like, can we really be real here? You just can't. So it's really important that you just, the potential has to also be coupled with the person's character. If the person is saying, I want to make 100K a year, and they're making 10K a year, there's corresponding character where that potential is in the works, you know, like you gotta do the work, you know. It can't just be potential. And so I really think it's important that a man is fruitful, you know, and that he's presently producing. He has to presently be producing. And I'm going to get a little biblical on you guys. Mark 11, you know, there's a great illustration about potential versus productivity. So you gotta be productive. And at this point in my life, like, that's what it is, and that's what it has to be. And I realized in this year, you know, or you know, from seeing my friends or something that I've personally done or experienced, you cannot go financing a man. You just can't do that. Whether it's they're living with you and you're paying all the bills and they're paying very minimal bills or no bills on paper, but they're just putting gas in the car or food in the fridge. Like, no. Like, those all count as financing a man. Like if your man is your king and he's asked you to be his wife or something like that, and he's down and out, that's another scenario where you can help him out financially. But if you are in the midst of a courtship, like, there is no need for you to be financing a man. And this is a lesson that, I've learned. Hey, Regina. It's a lesson that I've learned in this year. So can we talk about it, guys? Thank you so much, Regina, for joining us. I'm just going to briefly catch you up. Just talking about some life lessons in this year that I've learned. I'm just going to recap like the relationship portion. I spoke about how potential without corresponding character is a no-go. Like when you're looking for a mate or something like that, you can't be like, oh my gosh, he has so much potential. Like, it has to be what it is. Like, you have to be producing. Like, you have to be fruitful as a man. And then I spoke about not financing a man. Like, that is a mistake that I made in my past relationship. Like, I was doing way too much that I, as a woman, should never have done. So it's important that it's important that you can't let no grown man just play you. You just cannot. And in like Second Thessalonians, it talks about men taking care of his woman. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. And another thing that I've learned in this year, from what I've been through, what I've experienced, is you cannot, and let's talk about it. I want to hear, I want the comment section to get really, really real. You just cannot allow or cater to a man that has not dedicated his life to you. And it's something that I'm learning. Like, I'm learning and having to relearn that you have to move in step with how a man is moving. You cannot give a man the privilege of a wife without him taking you or even like presenting you to the altar. You just really, I realize, like, I really have to stop giving these men like husband privileges. Like, where they do that at? Like you have to, and I'm speaking to all my lady friends, you have to, if your desire is marriage, is courtship, or if you don't really believe in marriage but you believe in commitment, if you're looking for strong commitment with somebody, you have to be somebody who is operating in that way, in order to prepare to have a husband. You have to already be walking in step with what a wife would do, say, be like, so it's definitely something that I am learning, and it's something that I realize, being in this year of singleness, that, if I desire a husband, then I need to make sure I'm doing the things that would, I want to choose my words carefully, I want to make sure that I'm doing things that are in line with what it is I desire. I know earlier I spoke about you got to allow your being to fuel your doing. So if I want to be somebody's wife someday, then I have to be that wife essentially, so that I can do the things that will bring that husband about. Like, I don't know, am I making sense? So yeah. And lastly, like, one of the biggest things that I have learned from my past relationship is you cannot at all possibly, I don't even know how many times I have to say it, like, you cannot tolerate disrespect. You cannot let any man, like, call you out of your name. You cannot let any woman call you out of your name. Sorry, I don't want to just be talking to like one group of people. Talk crazy to you, put you down, put hands on you, manipulate you. All of the things that are red flags, that are disrespectful, you cannot tolerate it, like, at all. You can't be like, oh, but he only called me a bitch like one time and he was like joking and he had some intonation in his voice, or it was in a joking manner. No, 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 no. So these are all the things that I have learned this year. Sorry, it's been a while since I've gone live. But it is so quiet in the comment section. Like, how is everybody's night going? What have you guys learned this year that you want to share? Yeah, I want to hear from you guys. I guess they're busy doing other things. But yes, it's been a pleasure chatting with you guys. I hope to be on here more frequently so we can delve into some really, really important topics. So today it was just really a free-for-all about lessons that I've learned this year alone, and just sharing where I've been in this past year, the journey that I've been on, the struggles that I've been going through. So yeah, I hope that you guys could continue to frequent this page. I'm hoping to be able to produce content for this page on a more frequent basis. But just to kind of recap what we've spoken about, I spoke about the weight 2 years ago, and I wasn't able to actually read the book until less than a year ago, and recently just been rededicating myself to what is important, essentially. You have to know who you are. You have to be the authentic you, and you have to be grounded, and most importantly, you have to honor yourself. And I feel like I may have known who I was. I may have been authentic to myself, but was I honoring myself in some of the decisions that I was making? So with each new day, you can always like rededicate and recommit yourself to honoring yourself. It's just never too late. So today is a brand new day, and if that is your decision, then go for it. Jillian, hi. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. We are actually wrapping things up, but I want to recap for you, what we've kind of talked about. It's been a while since I've gone live on this group, Discover Your Purpose After the Storm, which is a group here for anybody who's experienced loss in any capacity, whether it be the loss of a relationship, the loss of a job, the loss of self, essentially, the loss of life, and just refocusing and knowing that you can still be your best self despite all of these things that happen to us. They don't have to define us. So yeah, spoke about some of the lessons that I've come to learn this year. I was very candid with what I've been going through. So I have been a year separated from my live-in partner and also the father of my child. And that relationship lasted for nearly 9 years. So being a year removed and things were not pleasant. It wasn't like okay, it's not working, so let's go our separate ways. It wasn't like that. So it was very difficult, and it's still difficult. And that's sort of why I haven't been on here more frequently. But I'm hoping for that to change. So I'm speaking it out into the universe so you guys can hold me accountable and shoot me a message in my DM like, what's up, G? You say you was going to go live like more frequently. What's good with that? So, yeah, putting it out there into the universe so I hold myself accountable. And so we kind of talked about some of the life lessons that I've learned this year. And one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received is to not take advice. The best thing that you can do is to just pay attention. Hi, Gamael. How are you? Where are you waving from? Leave us a comment. I'm being silly. But yeah, paying attention, allow your being to feel you're doing, and to just do your best to love in every kind of way, like, because this life is so fleeting. So, and just knowing who you are, like, if I end with anything, it's that should be your goal. And I'm hoping that this group itself will help people to tap into, well, who am I? And what would me being my authentic self look like? And what would it look like if I was grounded? And if I most importantly honored myself, what would that look like? So, yeah. And then we talked about some of the things that I've learned in relationships and tricks and things that I would do differently. So, not catering to a man who hasn't dedicated his life to you is hugely important. It's a lesson that I've had to learn and relearn, and I'm hoping it sticks this time around because I know what it is I desire, and if I'm going to get that thing, I have to do things a bit differently. And I learned that potential without corresponding character is really a no-go. So yeah, a man really has to be fruitful. I have some men here in the chat. Like, do you agree with that? I want to hear from you guys. A man has to be fruitful. Like, he has to presently be producing. There's no longer like, oh, but he has potential. No, like potential doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't keep the lights on. It doesn't do any of those things. So yeah, just want to leave a couple of housekeeping things that I want to share with you guys. If you guys enjoyed this live and want to hear more things, if somebody's not already following this page, it's called Discovering Your Purpose After the Storm. Make sure you do so. Spoke a little bit about in the beginning. I hope the lives stick together because we had to resume. If you haven't already purchased my book, it is available on Amazon. It's called Unmet Potential. What else? Ooh, I forgot to share with you guys. I am a brand ambassador for an activewear called Just Strong, and I really love the mission of this organization because it's really about empowering women to be their truest self and to find their true strength, whatever that may be. So I'm really excited to do that. So you guys will hear more about that. But yeah, what else? As always, I'm always offering a free introductory course for somebody that, could use a life coach in their life, somebody to hold them accountable, essentially. Because oftentimes people don't know what life coaches do, but that, in essence, is what it's all about. So always offering a free introductory call. Just DM me and be like, hey, I'm interested in your free introductory call. Like, what's good? What else can I share before I leave you? What else? Oh, leave in the comments below what other topics you want us to discuss if we were to go live later on this week. So yeah, I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys at a later time. Take care. Bye.